Well, I'm going to stop us then. I'm going to ask some questions because we've got some questions sitting in our Q&A. So I'm going to start with a question from Hayley, who says, how do you get professional development on the agenda for your senior management teams, and any tips for getting your organization to fund training?
Okay. For me, it's all about value. So prime example, so there's an offshore energy business that I work with. When I started, they were on the verge of going bust. And actually last year was the first full year we were together, and they grew 41%, which in the Northeast would make them the 9th fastest growing company. And this is someone that was failing. But when we have a team and we're covering costs and we're really, my point in saying that is the fact that it's a tough business environment. It wasn't like a cushy plateau, steady state kind of thing. When we're looking actually about how one of the guys wanted to fight for a pay rise for one of his team, which I don't disagree with. I have no problem with that. But what I went back to them and basically said is actually, look, talk to me about how they can add more value. That yes, you want a $3,000 pay rise, but actually, what does the business get in return? And it's that mindset shift. So where I'm saying about professional development, what you can then say, and what we said in this instance, was that this guy, the company used to outsource, it was like £15,000 worth of, it's called finite element analysis. It's when you model stuff up. And rather than outsource it for the sake of a $2,000 course, we could do it in-house. So actually then we're saving money. He's getting his pay rise. We're going to be more efficient. We're paying for the training that he wants, but it's putting yourself in the mindset of your boss or your boss's boss, or how you can add value. That if someone, and Lisa as an entrepreneur, the one thing you always look at, it's also true in marketing, is that it's how do you take the resource that you have, the utility that you have, your cash or whatever, and get the best possible output. If someone said to you and said, look, would you pay the £800 to come on this course? But actually, I believe it'll make me better at my job, and especially in marketing, because what you inherently do is a multiple, so that you hit more people and they see more products and whatever. I don't think that's a difficult argument to actually say, look, if you kindly would consider paying for this course, my belief is it will bring us this back in return. And as long as one is probably 3-4 times bigger than the costs, I'll probably go for it. And it's that kind of just put yourself in the shoes of the owner or the manager, know what their aims and goals are, and actually based on that, how can you help them achieve their goal? And it could well be, using the engineering example, look at costs, look at how you spend, you might outsource 20 grand a year on SEO. Do an SEO course on Udemy for 100 quid and get better at it, practice and do stuff and just add more value. And then because of that, that's the way that personally I would do it.
Yeah. And just, I guess, to give my take on that, Hayley, is professional development for your senior management teams. It has to come from the top, that for me. It has to be a culture of learning and development in the business. It has to be alive and living and breathing. It can't just be something that sits in a manual or a CPD spreadsheet. It has to be encouraged. It has to be celebrated. It has to be supported. So for me, keeping it on the agenda with your senior team is about that, keeping it on the agenda. Every single one of our team meets, there's a CPD kind of continuous learning piece, and then teasing new ways, looking for people to champion it, to really kind of shout about what they've done. And getting your organization to fund it is such an interesting one, because we get so many people interested in doing our training. And one of the big blockers is they are scared to ask their business to pay for it. And normally these people are in really big businesses who no doubt will have a learning and development budget. And my biggest piece of advice there is so simple, and it's just ask the question, because sometimes people are just so terrified to ask the question. We get, haven't been in the role long enough, not really sure where I'm going in the role, not really sure if my team will do this, don't know if I'm asking too much from this. If anybody in my business ever comes to me with a request, particularly around learning, that encourages everything, because I can see that there's commitment, there's determination, there's a will to succeed. And even if my business can't fund it right there and right now, which might be the case of many, I can still see how hungry that person is to progress. So there is nothing bad about asking your organization to fund it, even if they can't do it, if they can't financially commit to it. It still puts you forward as somebody who is hungry for this. And then if there is another opportunity later down the line, you're kind of first in row. So my simple advice there is just raise the question, ask your boss about it.